Mark, what'd you say another good one was? Did you say Whip was good? Nelson's?
Yeah, Nelson's or Bipolar.
Okay.
Either one of those two.
Oh, we gotta show that your visitor thing. This is so cool that you did this. We're just open up the show with some videos, guys. We're gonna formally introduce it here in a second, but we are live, so let us know where you're watching from in the comments. Mark's in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and there's like 3 feet of snow on the ground. So this is so cool. This is what you guys did here. That was at Wisner, right, Mark?
Yep, that was Saturday afternoon when it was bright as all heck. And
yep, I love some of the ideas you got. Here's Twisted Whip from Spencer Don Nelson. Just so that when we'll get into the show. So here we go. Welcome, everybody, to our first ever Behind the Lens special podcast, video cast, if you will. Yeah, Russ, I've been having a hard time streaming to YouTube, so tonight we're on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So if you don't mind watching on the Facebook, that'll be fine with me. I'm going to get the YouTube thing figured out. I just haven't done it right yet. And I got a video playing somewhere, and I need to stop it. There we go. Start pushing all these buttons and everything. So I want to highlight the pulling community, the people behind the lens. It is what it says. The videographers, the photographers and the social media content creators of the great sport of truck and tractor pulling. It is a unique family. You hear about the pulling family all the time, but I'm not really part of your guys' little camera crew because I don't understand. I would have a Polaroid camera, Mark, but I have a lot of respect for all that you guys do. And that beautiful photo right back there of my tractor and Manila, you took that for me, and you make it easy for me to buy stuff because I just send you money and they show up at my house and they're wrapped and everything. So we're gonna do. Mark's gonna be helping me actually host these, but I thought tonight, why not? Let's talk about Ham Boys Racing Toys, how it got into sport. And I know Cody's going to jump on. Cody Vanderholm from Vanderholm Media is going to jump on, and they can talk about their lenses and their cameras and their shutter speeds and all the stuff that I kind of giggle about when they start talking about stuff like that. So welcome, everybody. This is Mark Ham from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He is the owner of Ham Boys Racing Toys. And I can bring up his Facebook page and his website when he does it. But if you have any comments throughout the show, just throw them into the chat, throw them in the comments. If you've met Mark, anything like that, let us know. So, Mark, welcome to Behind the Lens. How are you, sir?
Oh, not too bad. Getting close to bedtime for us, but
it's all good. I appreciate you doing this. I had my Florida show. We're promoting the Zelwood Florida show, and they're an hour ahead of us. So 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, and then we moved into your shows here. So it's all good. It's all good. Who's the pretty young gal right there next to you, Mark?
Oh, this is Logan. Most of you might know her. Or if you don't see me at a track, that means her and I are doing something. So,
yeah. Logan, how old are you?
9.
9. How many truck and tractor pulls have you been to?
None.
What? She was 1 once, but she was actually 2. So,
Really?
But she was just a little peanut then. So,
well, if you want to help out this summer with Outlaw Pulling TV, Logan, we can talk about it. We'll put you on a big camera. Okay, sound good? We'll even pay you. I promise. Mark, I guess, obviously I want to know how you got started, but tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us what you do for a living, because we all know that this is a hobby, truck and tractor pulling and taking pictures and stuff like that. So kind of give us some back history of who you are, and then we're going to get into how you got started with basically taking photos and videos at pulls.
Well, I guess we can circle back to the 90s if you want to go back that far.
I do. I want to. This is like therapy, Ham. This is like therapy. I'm kind of like Dr. Phil.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, actually, yeah. Back in the 90s, I first was exposed to tractor pulling versus the Redman TNT on ESPN. We didn't have cable at our house, but my brother would have some of his friends record it for us. And so that's when, actually that would have been in the 80s. I think 87 was the first year that I got really into it. Good old Redman TNT right there.
Awesome.
So if anyone asks me, that's where it all started. Watched that, and then into the 90s, I went into the military. And before I got into the photography business,
what branch
I actually started.
What branch did you serve in?
What's that?
What branch of military?
I was active duty U.S. Air Force. So anything. Well, thank you as well. So anything that went in a cargo plane or in a passenger plane, I touched it. I was at a lot of gas stations, sending stuff over across the way. So what I can't just do one thing. I have to do mobile DJ service. And I did that for quite a while. And then I got out of the military and kept doing that. And then from there, it evolved into announcing for the Demolition Derby back home.
Okay.
So we did that for a while, 15 years. And then I got burnt out on being a DJ. And then plus we had this little one here. And something about being on the road all the time didn't sound all that great. Well, then my brother got out of the military and we got into Sioux Falls at the same time. So we got back into modeling toy tractors. And so, things evolved and we could get double cuts and we could get parts and laser cut stuff. And so we started building toy tractors. And I made a handful and had some for my own collection. And next to know, I was building them for other people. Did that for about 6 years. And to be honest, I did too many of them one Christmas season and I burned myself out.
Yeah, but that's where the Ham Boys Racing Toy started then?
Well, here, let's get a little backstory to that.
Yeah.
If you go back to 87 with the Redman TNT stuff, there was a monster truck called Mad Dog. And that one there was run by John Bream.
Here, put that back up there. I'll make you bigger on the screen. Give me a second.
So it's on John Bream. So you can't read it, but on there, on that sticker, it says Bream Boys Racing Toys. So me, when I was back, that would have been in the 90s, I thought, that's a cool name. That's something catchy. So I stuck with it. Well, then it got shelved while I was doing all these other things. And then when my brother and I were building these toys, I'm like, I need some sort of name. And then all of a sudden, well, that works out together. We're building toys.
Yep.
It's the Ham Boys. So there you go. Put 2 and 2 together, you get 5, depending on what state you're in. So that evolved that. And then so the Bandit logo actually came out because I wanted a name for what I would have as a pulling tractor, which evolved into the Dakota Outlaw. Now, this is before I really did a lot with the Outlaws. So they can't say that I totally took it from them. So I built what was considered the Dakota Outlaw. Wow. And so I started with that Bandit logo. So I actually bought it off of, I don't know what are they called, Getsy or whatever those image sharing sites were.
Yeah.
I bought it, and then we started that logo. And actually that logo was created by Chris over at 6B.
Okay.
So shout out to 6B for all their great swag. And so my brother and I were doing a lot of photography at that time. So we would have reference pictures on, how to build a rear end, how to set the weight brackets on the front, basically R&D type stuff. And then it would have been 2016, this guy out of Iowa, this Tim Blankspor guys, all of a sudden said, hey, why don't you take more pictures? I might be able to get you trackside at Rock Valley.
And you went, okay.
Yeah. So here I am with, at that time, I finally had a pretty good digital camera. And so there, it evolved from there. And then here we are today. So going through the timeline, 2007 was the first time I saw an upper tier tractor pulling, which would have been the Outlaws in Dell Rapids, South Dakota. And at that time, I had 2 rolls of film, an old, I think it was a Minolta camera, and I think 6 or 8 AA batteries in my pocket.
What year was this?
That would have been 2007. And that would have been the first documented tractor pulling pictures I took.
That's awesome. Do you still have those around anywhere?
Yeah, I've actually posted them as, the Throwback Thursdays. I've thrown one on there. There's one of Alan Andrews and then a young Craig Ulmer. Needless to say,
did he have hair? Did Ulmer have hair then?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so. Needless to say, the quality on those is pretty rough.
Yeah, I imagine.
So yeah, it's evolved from there, and then every year it just kind of stepped it up. I ended up getting a couple GoPros because I obviously needed more things to do.
Yeah.
And then this year I finally upgraded some equipment, which was a big thing for me. Not so much, well, I guess you could say I had better equipment, but I think it instilled a game and a little more curiosity and kind of, I don't know, boosted yourself. It's kind of like when you've been driving, a 32 RPM, and then all of a sudden you get yourself at 8,500, and you're like, oh, hey, this is a whole new deal here.
There's a few more RPMs here.
Yeah. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. It's encompassed a lot of the growth has been on accident more than anything else. So
well, and that's kind of, I think, and we're going to learn that through this series, is that's going to be a lot of it. I think people kind of stumbled into it, and then, hey, somebody asked them to help, and then you fall in love with it. So
yeah.
And then we can get into, I think Cody jumped on. I think he's driving home from his meeting or whatever. I don't know if he wants to start talking or not, but we can get into shutter speeds and stuff like that. But what's your biggest challenge, or what kind of motivates you, Mark, to keep doing this?
especially now that I've learned more, and then to be honest, now that I've got a better equipment, I still use my old camera, and now I'm learning how to better use that old camera now that I know what it's like using better stuff, if that makes any sense.
It does, actually.
So I mean, I've got some crazy zany plans for next year. I'm going to try to do some things and utilize that second camera a lot more. So I don't know, it's a lot of fun, and it's the Pulling family. I mean, I've grown a lot of cool little relationships with a lot of people. Sometimes I should be taking more pictures in the pits when I get there, but a lot of times I end up just BSing at the trailers or accidentally having an adult beverage and hanging out. Then next to know, oh, hey, they're doing the starting anthem. I got to get going.
Yep. No, I know how that goes too. Because, I mean, with all the media stuff that you do now, it's still fun, but it's almost like a job, because it is. I mean, you're there for a purpose. You're not there. Like, when's the last time you've sat, Mark, in the stands just as a fan and just watched the Truck and Tractor Pull?
No.
Yeah. See, that's what, and I think that's good to do every now and then. Like every year at Shipshewana, and that's coming up next week. That last class of Saturday night during the finals, I just kind of go up in the stands and put my phone in my pocket, put the GoPros away, and just sit there and kind of soak it up, because we do, as promoters and of the sport, and you with Pulling Media, Mark, you kind of want to see what the fans do. And if you notice, Russ Dostal's been posting some pictures on our Facebook page now from the fans' point of view, just from his camera phone, from the stands. It's kind of neat to see that angle from fans as well, Mark. But the pictures that you guys take you're just awesome. Or just awesome. Do you who's bought out of all the years? Who have been some of your bigger customers for buying your photos? I want to give shout outs to those people that take care of you.
Well, the biggest thing I did some looking in the archives, and to technically my first official customer would have been who was it now? Oh, Desiree Paulson. She would have been their first official customer. That was back when I first just got this camera. And to be honest with you, for the last 7 years, I was using a camera with kit lenses, the same thing you'd buy at a Costco and a Sam's Club. It did a pretty good job. I kind of learned how to work with it until it got to be about 8:30, 9 o'clock when their lighting was terrible, and then it wasn't very good. And that's just the nature of kit lenses and all the nerdiness of it all. So that was the bad thing is, it was hard for me to drive a long ways knowing that, after 9 o'clock, all those pictures are going to be garbage.
Yep. I agree with you 100% on that. So welcome, everybody. This is our first episode ever of Behind the Lens. Our guest tonight is Mark Ham from Ham Boys Racing Toys from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He's going to be one of our hosts of this podcast, video cast that we do. Cody Vanderholm as well will be helping with that. I don't know, probably going to do a couple a month. A lot of it depends upon everybody's schedules and getting people lined up. But we're going to highlight all of the photographers, videographers, and social media content creators in the sport of truck and tractor pulling, and share them around a little bit and let them tell their story, and that makes it fun. So Cody sounds like he wants to talk. He unmuted himself. Cody, what do you got to say, sir?
So the first time I met Mark kept going about his Fisher-Price camera, and that stuck with me ever since then, because I just laugh because Mark's talking about this Fisher-Price camera that he's using and stuff. But talk about the data storage over the years of how much, it's changed from, what you had for storage space on a camera to what you have now. And then the follow-up part of that is talk about how you archive stuff.
Well, the way I do it is I have 2 external hard drives. Terabyte. That is what I consider the archives. And then I've got I think a 1 or a 2 terabyte is which basically I consider the 2022 hard drive. Basically, when I pull the SD cards out, I take them away, and then I'll put extra SD card fresh ones in when I go, if we're doing a multi-session show, and then I'll come back and I'll pull all of the pictures off the SD cards, throw them on my 2022, which would be 2023 SD card, throw them on there, and then I basically sort them. I'll name the folder, say Wisner Friday night, and then I'll start sorting them into classes. And Cody can attest to this. We might do a show, even if it's 40 or 180 tractors, you're talking at least 5-6 hours worth of editing, sorting, going through all those pictures. So yeah, I basically sort them into folders. I kind of have a new workflow because I have multiple monitors here at the house, so that way I can kind of flip stuff around, and it's really helped.
I would say 5 hours you're on the light side of that, my friend.
You're probably right, because I know there's
Yeah.
a lot of times I work from home, so there's a lot of times lunch comes around, all of a sudden tear into a folder. Next know, oh crap, it's 1 o'clock. I gotta get on the regular clock. And then when I'm not working my second job, or if I don't have Squirt here with me, I'm probably working until either I get tired or my glass is empty, and that can be late.
When you started out, what was the SD cards? What was the biggest SD card you used then versus now?
So now I'm running 64s. Back then, oh gosh, I don't know. I'm
8 gig was probably the max back then.
I've got one right here. It's a 4 gig SanDisk.
4.
Yep.
Yep.
And then
I was looking through old cameras and found some of those too. Yeah.
I usually use anywhere between the 32s and the 64s, just depending. And then I was joking with these guys. I said, it's time to change the batteries in your smoke detectors and buy new SD cards, because I bought a bunch of SD cards the day after Thanksgiving sale.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Mark Ulmer says, Mark Ham is a good guy, does a great job for pulling, and I have a toy of the weapon he made for me, and he had a great time going to Grand Island with him a couple years back. So I think we talked about the night he was on the show, Mark, but didn't you jump in and go out to Grand Island with them right along?
Yeah, last year, Nebraska Bush still had the Grand Island show, and I kept hee-hawing around, I don't know if I'm going to go, and I've got the weekend off, and I don't know if I'm going to go. And then he all said, messaged me, and he said, hey, are you going to go to Grand Island? You mind if me and my partner in crime come with you? And I'm like, sure. You got some ballast in the car. It'll be even weighted, and, at least you'll have a conversation. So we went out there to the Poland, and I shot photos. And Sirius has nothing on having Mark Ulmer riding shotgun in your car. I mean, those conversations were great going back into the 80s. And the sorry thing is now I'm in my 40s and I can't remember half the stuff we talked about, which is such a bummer, but it was so much fun. So I joked with him this year because I think he was out at Windsor and I had some other things going on. And I said, is it okay if I call you? I need someone to keep me busy while I'm driving out to Grand Island. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. No, Ulmer's a great guy, and it's good to have that connection with the pullers. Mark and Cody, you guys both know. I know the pullers appreciate, what you guys do for them, and that's what makes it fun. I'm just flipping through some of the photos that Mark has on his Facebook page. We'll talk about his website here as well later. Again, if you're just joining us, we're about 20 minutes in of our first episode ever, Behind the Lens, where we're going to do, I would say, a couple times a month between Mark, Cody, and I. We're going to interview pulling photographers, pulling videographers, and social media content creators, because they are the backbone of social media and sharing the sport around. And we know the sport of pulling is growing because of social media and the pictures and the videos, and it's exposed it to a lot of people. And it's because of these guys. It's fun to hear their story, how they got started, and they deserve the recognition as well because you don't think truck and tractor pulling makes any money. Buy some expensive camera equipment and run all over. So, I mean, it's a hobby. It's a passion for these guys, just like it is for us pullers as well. So that's why it's good to support them. If they take a good photo of your truck or your tractor or your mini rod or whatever, do your best to buy it and hang it up there. And that goes a long ways. They appreciate you doing that. So, Mark, one of the questions is, and I think this is Russ Dostal asked, what is your favorite picture that you have taken? It can be anything. It doesn't have to be pulling. Do you have like one photo like, dude, I nailed it?
So the funny thing is, my favorite picture in the house actually isn't taken by me. It was actually taken by a friend of mine of when Logan was born.
Okay.
My second favorite picture was taken by me, and I wish I could get another chance at it. And that was actually Ken Vaney at Rockwell. That would have been 2021.
Okay.
I got a picture of him coming down the track. Luckily, it was earlier enough in the evening where I could get some good clarity on it. And I actually have that on the wall underneath a blower belt that I got from him at Hutchinson. Oh, that was back in what? Oh, I don't know, 2017, 2018. Oh, here we go. Logan's got a copy of that same post.
Okay.
So that's
Hold
my
on.
favorite photo right there.
Let me make that big. There you go. There you're big. You were bald back then too, Ham, 9 years ago. Good deal.
I did not pick this out of a catalog. Superior Genes.
Superior Genes. Keith Hammonds, bipolar, says, hello, buddy. Hopefully you're doing well.
Oh, yeah. Keith is a good time. That's one thing that's great about, the Pulling family is, got some really good friendships with Keith and, the Claypools. Claypools have always been really good supporters. I wish I could get down to their show, but they always have it on the wrong weekend and it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, it's tough to do them all, Mark.
It is. And then the Christensens and, the Paulsons. Gosh, there's so many of them. The Omers, the whole fleet of the Omers have always been great for me. So, oh, yeah. And then I guess I can't leave out Taryn and Dennis Beck. They've been they're kind of the other family you could speak of, although sometimes I don't always claim Dennis. But that's another story for another show.
I don't think Taryn does either all the time either.
Oh, quick story I was going to mention about Marco Omer. I don't know how many, I would say over a dozen times I've put a GoPro on his tractor. And I don't think I've only got footage maybe about 3 times because either I'll turn it on and someone will shut it off or it won't get turned on. Or what was it, Rock Valley or Wisner? I didn't have the screw tightened enough. And as soon as the weapon went to a wheelie, the camera went straight up in the air.
I've done that before. Yep.
So
I was just getting ready to ask you about that.
Yep. I played around with the GoPros a lot in 2018, 2019. I got some pretty cool stuff and it's just so much of it that, it's so daunting to go through it. And one of the funniest memories from that is at the Cornhusker Classic, Ed Walker there, he was, I had the camera set up on Brandon's sled there. And I said, hey, after they do the national anthem, can you just turn it on? Well, with the GoPros, you hit it once and it fires up and starts recording. He must have held it down long enough and it went into burst mode. And I had an SD card full of photos going off every 3 seconds.
Did any of them turn out cool?
I deleted that folder at the hotel.
Understood.
So what's the flip side of your favorite picture? What's the one shot of a tractor? A, what was it and where was it? What's the one shot of a tractor or truck that you wish you would have nailed, whether you were in Food Line or whatever? Like, what's the one shot of a tractor that you wish you always been chasing?
To be honest, I finally got a good one this year at Spencer of Bulletproof Buck. With those guys always running like at the end of the class, it's always in whatever lighting, or they're always on the other opposite track. And Cody can tell you about this. You can try to plan to get both tracks, but it never works. And then there's always going to be track equipment in your way or other things like that. And so I finally got a good one of that one. And I was finally proud of it because every time you loot it, and I know a couple times they would message me, hey, would you get anything from Wisner? I'm like, nope. Talk to Ryan, talk to Cody. It was a fail.
Yeah, I've heard. I talked to Ryan and Cody a lot, obviously, and they're with track equipment and stuff like that, and they get frustrated because then somebody will park right in front of them they don't know, and it's tough. I mean, it's tough. I've seen it with the 2 tracks. It's very, very difficult to try to nail it. So. Hey, before we get too far, what's your Keith Hammond says Mark makes a nice sip and drink. What do you make for Keith?
We're going to call it Campfire Peach.
Okay.
It's basically a variation of the apple pie moonshine that people make, usually during the holidays, but I make a peach version of it that instead of boiling it, I actually run it through my smoker when I smoke like a pork loin or a tri-tip or something. So it's got a distinctness to it.
Yeah, I got some of it in Ravenna from you. So,
Allegedly.
well, allegedly, true. Yeah, we're live, aren't we? We got to be careful. I don't think the state troopers are watching tonight, though. So I think we're okay. So I think we're okay. So,
Surprisingly enough, that's gotten me gas money home a couple times now. So
hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I thought you were going to say you poured in like the guy in Back to the Future. So,
no, but I wonder if sometimes you could probably start a John Deere with that stuff, though.
Stephanie Best says it's quite tasty. Laugh out loud.
So who has the best lighting after dark? That's where it's at. I mean, okay, Jason's got an indoor picture pulled up there. Take the indoors out because they're cheating. But outdoor polls, who's got the best lighting?
Oh. I think Wisner for how I do it for my style. Rock Valley, sometimes you have to kind of shoot between the lights, or you have to have a certain angle. I really like Rockwell, but depending on what angle you have, there's a couple of those setup lights that they have back in the pits for the staging area that can mess with you. I'm gonna have to say Wisner. And part of the reason is they're up high enough. You know, you can get some fantastic lighting, but if they're low enough, it's going to mess with you. And then the one that messed with me a little bit this year was out at Manila. They had a storm before that pole, and so they were just kind of, was it Manila, Jason, where they had that storm? And They were basically scrounging up whatever bulbs they could. So you would have some that were kind of that orange hue, and then you had some that were white, and it was weird. There's some of my shots I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, you wonder when you're clicking the button type of thing, you look back at the photos like, did I like change the color of this picture somehow? Because it just, you know, you get other shots in front of it or behind it from other trucks, and you're like, what? This one spot is just green, and it's so hard to fix that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, I've got, there's the photo of Vaney and then the blower belt.
That's cool.
That probably wasn't the best picture of Vaney I have ever gotten. I hope I get an opportunity one more time. Another ones that have eluded me until this year is this Temptation folks that I have on my shirt here. They always seem to elude me. But this year I made up for that, so.
You got him?
Yeah, I like it.
Mike Maxwell from Pulling Memories says, I have learned different lights are handled differently on every camera. Yep. I have one camera that flashes on one kind of light. So that's kind of funny.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it depends on technology, the years. I mean, you know, you get a new Nikon, you know, their new releases for 2023. You might have 3 different cameras at 3 different price points, and they might handle it all differently.
Yeah.
And as much as Cody doesn't want me to say this out loud, sometimes it's about luck with us too.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Cody would admit that. So.
Yeah. Sometimes it's also frustrating when you're moving down the track and the lighting is, you know, we updated the bulbs on this tower, but the next one's still halogens. So you have LEDs next to halogens, next to green ones, and you're like, this is like every color on the Christmas tree going down the track.
Agreed.
Yeah.
One memory I should probably bring up so that way Craig feels good. It would have been 2016 when I got my first green light to be on the track at Rock Valley. I got welcomed to the Outlaws when Craig Ulmer blasted by me with Sweet Pain, and he was kind of riding that one sideline, and I got myself a dirt bath, a good one.
It happens.
Every time I brought that story up, he seems to laugh a little. I don't know why.
I know one thing I've been wanting to say Mark and I, we talked about the show for a while, and Cody, probably I mentioned it to him this summer, seeing you guys. The one thing I always notice as a puller, the coolest photos are always the worst pass because we have the front end just high in the air and they take awesome photos. They look so cool, but we all know that that for the tractors and the mods and two wheelers to get that front end too high. You don't quite go as far when you lose all that hitch height. So.
Well, when I first was starting doing this, I'd be down by 300, and then you were trying to gauge it on how far this class is going to get to, before they top out and move around. And I started doing that. And then one show back in 2018, it was me and Rusnik and Crum. We were at Wisner. And that's one thing I have to say. Tractor pulling photographers, we all play together in the yard real well. We're all doing the same thing. I can't say the same. I've tried to do a little of the circle track stuff and some of the demolition derby stuff. And I always get this feeling and they're very territorial.
Very, very.
Whereas us, like Rockwell that one year, there was 5 of us, we're sitting there having a beer afterwards and BSing and having a good time. We kind of all work with each other. I mean, I've worked with Ryan and Cody quite a bit. I always try to stay out of their range. Sometimes I think Cody purposely tries to get me into his pictures from what I've seen. But we play all together really good in the yard. And that's one thing that's awesome about all of us.
Yeah. If you were the only photographer at a track, let's say, where would be the perfect spot for you, the way you shoot? What feet, or how far down the track, where do you like to be, Mark, and why?
I changed back in 2018, 2019. Since then, I try to sit at about 200, 225.
Okay. And is there a specific reason?
I want to get that first wheelie drag, that first launch, that first bit. So that means I miss when Jason hand grenades something down at 300, unfortunately.
No, let's not, hopefully that never happens again. So.
Right. But no, I like to be at 200 because I'm out of everyone else's way. I like to get those wheelies, and how I do the lenses and how I do the angles and stuff, that seems to work the best for me. And I don't know, I like that style. I joked with Cody that one day. I said, you guys got the swimsuit edition photos, and I'm the tabloid guy at the grocery store. But I'm okay with that.
It's all good. Your pictures look great.
Mark comes up with the best analogies for about everything.
I like them. We're putting some great photos that you've taken up on the screen, so I don't think you have to sell yourself short on any of that, Mark, at all.
Well, we got to have fun at this.
I agree. 100%. One thing I always hear the guys talk about, like, I haven't shot this one tractor yet. You mentioned Haugs a little bit with Temptation. You mentioned Mettings. Are there any other vehicles that you like, man, I want to get a good shot of that, or for whatever reason you just can't quite get them?
Any of the PPL stuff, everyone keeps asking me, hey, you going here, going there. Usually I try to stay within a 4-hour radius of my house.
Okay.
Because anything outside of that, there's a good chance that, all right, we get done at a pull at 1:00. If the sun starts coming up, I'm not going to do so hot. So I usually try not to stay outside a 4-hour radius.
Yep.
So that means I miss a lot of stuff. I've been to Hutchinson, I've been to Rockwell, I've been into New Hampton when they had those. I've been down.
Hampton?
What's that?
How far is New Hampton from Sioux Falls?
4.5-ish.
Wow. Yeah,
somewhere around there.
Yep.
I actually went to that one, and that was
you, Mark. What's the closest pull for you?
Rock Valley.
Rock Valley, really? Yeah, it's an hour ish.
And that's one of those that I really like because I can go home and sleep in my own bed.
Yep.
But the problem is sometimes it's hard to get out of bed and go back and do it that Saturday morning because it's like, oh yeah, the session starts at 12. So
yep.
So there's that too.
Do you still make toys at all?
No.
I have your toys up there on the screen right now.
No. I sold off most of my parts to a fellow builder in Minnesota. I've got maybe a few. I could probably build 3 or 4 different things, and I've got some stuff that are in assorted states of done and not done, but just don't have any ambition for it. I just burned myself out, and I just had a lot going on in the world at that time, and
No, understood. Completely understood.
And then I should bring my display out of the garage and set it up and then have one of those mock events like that because my brother and I, we actually came up with a way of making a game out of it where we could use randomized distances and all that stuff. And, we're in South Dakota. We have to have excuses to indulge in PBR, and we come up with
I was going to say. Well said. Well said. Again, if you're just joining us, we're live with Mark Ham. He's going to be a host of this show as well as Cody, but we're talking all about Ham Boys Racing Toys tonight. I really want to highlight and give more credit, more awareness to the pulling photographers, the pulling videographers, and the social media content creators out there that have grown the sport. You deserve, you guys deserve more recognition. If we can get on and tell your story, just like a puller, you really don't know them unless you talk to them after the pull. And just like the photographer, you just see these guys taking photos, and then you see them walk away, and then you check their Facebook page a couple of days later, and you take it from there. Keith Hammond says, "Are you sharing Triad with your daughter?" So probably not.
No, I think there's laws against that.
I think so. Yeah, Iowa though. I think you can drink with your kids. Ham. I don't know. Is it Cody? Is that over?
No, you got to get farther south. Like not even farther south than you got to be like Arkansas for that.
Like Arkansas.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, are you showing your trade? I thought Triad was a drink. I'm sorry. I just assumed because Keith's last comment was sipping juice. Is Logan gonna follow in the footsteps of Papa with the camera?
Well, I don't know that. A lot of people have asked why she hasn't come along with, and I said, she doesn't really have an interest in it. And to be honest, if she was at a show, I would be concerned of, is she talking to boys? Has she got enough money for food? Where's she at? All these things. And then I don't think I would be focused on what I want to do because, it's an art. We want to tell stories, but sometimes it's a business too, and we have to do that. We have to have a little bit of return on our investment when it comes to, $3 gas or whatever. So
yep, well, I respect that.
And to be honest, I kind of like being able to just come out to these polls and just be me, just do my own thing. And if I decide, I'm bored, I've watched 140 hooks, I want to go home, I can just go home.
Yeah, yes, you can.
And you can go home and take pictures of soccer practice and games too.
Yes. And then going to that question about the trade, Logan has a Girl Scout project coming up in March, and she's selected for some photography stuff. So I'm going to turn her loose with my old camera. I've already kind of got a couple ideas I want to try to see how we can do with that.
Awesome.
The problem is I'm afraid to show her because she's going to be better at it than I am, like she is with, the Nintendo Wii and stuff like that. And then I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah,
you're out of a job. Just saying.
Tell me about some of your aha moments over the years with photography. And yeah, just, you know what I'm talking about? Like, oh crap, why did I do that a year ago? That kind of stuff.
I think we do that, if not every poll, every other poll or something. All of a sudden you're like, oh, well, that didn't work. Or, well, how come I'm not doing it this way? Case in point, when I was at Manila there, when I got the Sunset to work with yourself, and then who's the other one? There's another tractor. I wasn't trying to get that Sunset in the picture, and it worked. Whereas I was trying to get some of the 8500 pullers in the Sunset, and I couldn't get it to work for dang.
Here's my you got these two photos from Manila here. I'll make myself bigger. I don't like to do that. I don't want to scare everybody away, but got some questions coming in now, so that's cool. But this photo is just money.
So Gavin, I actually pulled a 400cc Bombardier ATV at a little small garden tractor one. There was only two of us, so I came in with a strong second. I barely made weight, so I didn't have anything in my pockets. I pulled the back seat. If I would have had tools with, I would have started pulling off racks to make weight. And then after that, like 2 years later, I had a 500 Bombardier, and I went there, and I was the only one there, and I put on an exhibition hook, and then later they said, oh, we should have put more weight on the sled for you. So yeah, that's the extent of my pulling. There's some feller down that pulls at the Northeast Nebraska guys. He threatened to let me drive his Pro Stock two-wheel drive once. Unfortunately, this year I didn't get to see those
Kyle Petch, what can pullers do to help make their vehicles more photogenic for the photographers?
Leave all the weight off the front end.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier in the show.
And sometimes that's just all about luck. I mean, we know like the light super stocks, the cast light super stocks, they're always going to have awesome wheelies because they don't have much front end weight. So those are always the ones where I try to be on that side of the track. Or even sometimes with the late limited mods, I try to be on that side of the track just because they're going to put out some awesome wheelies.
Yeah.
But when it comes to photogenicness, sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's timing, angles. I mean, there's a lot of things with it.
Yeah.
Cody, I tell you, we have more fails on these hard drives than we have wins. And that's just how it goes.
And how often do you go back on those hard drives and think, I'm going to, sorting through an image, like I'm going to re-edit that because you've changed over the years. How often do you do that? Because your Throwback Thursday, do you ever go back to some of those and be like, I'm going to tweak this just a little bit more?
Yes. Or you'll find one, okay, so with the new camera now, since I've got a lot more frames per second, I'll just hold that down and rattle off a whole bunch. And then I'll pick one that's like, okay, it's frame, it's leading forward. I got all the rear tires. This is in focus. You can almost see the eyes through the visor. I'll go for that. And then next I'll do a random picture on a Tuesday and someone will be like, oh, I love this one. And I'm like, that'll be just a total different one from that series. And the thing is you and I, we'll pick things apart and someone else will see it from a different angle and they're like, oh, this one's better than that one. So, but yeah, absolutely. I've gone back into, some of my 2017, 2016 stuff. And now that I've kind of came up with what I call my barbecue rub for editing, I throw that at it and tweak it a little bit. And also I'm like, oh, hey, this actually looks a lot better than I thought it did. And then plus, I used to do it off of a, little 17, 19 inch monitor on my laptop. Now that I've got, kind of a nicer PC Mac setup here, you can do a lot more things.
It helps a bunch. Brad Caudell's watching from South Carolina. He says he takes the best blurry photos.
Oh, we've got those too.
Okay, that's good. You guys should do a blurry Tuesday or a blurry Sunday or something. Have some fun with that. You're a bleeper reel. This has got to be Russ. Happy comes to Pierce, Nebraska for the pull. Always good to talk with them.
Oh yeah, I like Pierce. Pierce is just that fun little small town fair.
Yeah.
So I have to. Someone brought this up at Spencer. I have to clear the air on this. So best pork loin sandwich in Iowa is Rock Valley. If you go to Rockwell, you get the steak sandwich. But if you go to Wisner, Nebraska, you get the Puller's nachos that's on the Frisbee. But unfortunately, this year they didn't have it.
On a Frisbee?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. Normally they would have nachos on a Frisbee, and they would have Thunder by the River on it. I've got one or two of them at the house here.
Cool.
Well, unfortunately, they didn't have it this year. I don't know if they kind of gave up on it or what.
Now, these are the kind of questions I'm excited about this series. This is episode 1. And we have a nice crowd watching tonight. This is going to be fun, but it's be fun to get the photographers on here and the videographers and the social media people so we can ask questions and share ideas. But Stephanie Ham saying, do you use an editing program and what is it?
Well, Cody probably doesn't even know this, but I don't even use Lightroom or Photoshop.
I did know that. We had that conversation when I was driving to, I think I was driving back from Windsor and you're driving to Grand Island.
Oh yeah, that's right. So I actually use a program called Fotor, Fotor. It's actually I think it's proprietary to Max. I've been using that and I've upgraded it and I've had really good luck with it. Like I said, I've kind of figured out kind of what I call my barbecue rub, kind of set up for it, and it works really good. And I like the price point on it. I'm kind of a tightwad when it comes to some of that stuff. So
well, that's all good. It makes sense. Is this Ulmer's Mini?
Yes.
Yeah. Was it called Loud and Proud?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've got a video of that one making a pass. Friday night, I lost pretty much all of that night's session due to a memory card issue. And then I had part of Saturday.
I don't know if I've ever asked you. Do you have a YouTube channel you're posting the videos to too, or just a Facebook?
I did, but I pulled everything off. It was a waste of my time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Jason and I were talking about this before we started. You spend 3 hours editing a video and 20 people like it, and only 100 something, 200 people see it. That 3 hours, I could do something else.
I 100% understand that.
So that's why, I might take a bunch of videos. Sometimes I'll use it, sometimes I don't. Or, I can't edit videos as awesome as Yaron can and all those kids. But every once in a while I might throw something together. But yeah, I mean, and that's the problem with Facebook with fighting the algorithm. It's hit or miss sometimes.
Oh, it's frustrating. I mean, we bang our head against the wall every day. 1 month the Facebook page will reach 30 million people. The next month it reaches 5 million. And that's with, 1 million plus followers. Yep. And I don't know. We're just like you love this and we love it. We love growing the sport and we're trying to get that out there. So it's just tough. But I know what you're saying.
Yep.
There's been times over the 10 years that I've just taken a couple weeks off and just said, whatever. You know what I mean? So usually it's because I was in Facebook jail though, to be honest. So I should throw that out there. So
yeah. All right, so I'm going to answer Ryan Rusnick's question right now. I think I answered this one night on one of your guys' Monday night shows. If I could steal the keys and go somewhere, I'm going to go back to the Red Man TNT days. I'm going to take my boy Chris Holdorf's Florida Gator, the Aero Gator, and I'm going to take that thing to Rock Valley because it's close to home.
I like it. That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
So if Ryan's watching, there you go. I got you.
He hasn't commented yet. I might be working late. Who knows? I know everybody's getting ahead so they can take off next week. I know he's going to ship Shawana.
Sure. And I may have accidentally had some of this Dickel 15 years, so that way Cody and Ryan knew I was supporting them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are your little bourbon buddies, so it's all good.
Yep. And he's like our inside man for that too. So
allegedly.
Oh, again, that's right.
Except for when they had their bourbon raffle, he's like, "Yep," and it was like what 6 a.m. start, and I was like, "So is this one of those like Black Friday things you have to get there like 4 hours in advance?" He goes, "Yep." I was like, "Dude, I'm not driving to Sioux Falls 4 hours to go stand in line for 4 hours to get bourbon."
We had people from Nebraska posting on Facebook at 2:30 in the morning that they were camped outside.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like bourbon, but that's some dedication. I don't even do like Black Friday shopping. So.
Yeah. So here's a question for anyone that's the 4 people that are probably watching this. What tractor is my favorite? What brand?
I know
you know. Because I may be one of 12 in the nation.
Can Logan answer it?
What?
I don't know. I don't know if she would know. I'm surprised we haven't gotten anyone in the comments firing it off yet.
They're all thinking.
Stephanie Ham says case.
Oh, of course. That's my niece, by the way. She's an awesome gal. Her and I, we go out to Mobridge, South Dakota for their annual demolition derby, and she's helped me out with a lot of that stuff. She's a good cat.
Mark Ulmer guest case.
Yeah.
Brad Claudel guest Kubota.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's about a
story
about
behind that. Story behind that is my brothers and my dad. He was a case mechanic back in the 70s and stuff, and so I got a special.
About a 15-second delay by the time we talk. By the time everybody hears it, it comes back. So that's why it takes a little bit sometimes.
Sorry.
To get stuff back here.
Where was that one taken?
Madison, South Dakota, it says.
Yep.
Feller's got a helmet on and no pants.
I was gonna say that's like some diagonal rules right there.
I love it.
We get one of those.
Yep, that's part of the Great Plains boys.
What's that one called? Burnin' Binder? Yeah.
Yes, that one was rebuilt, and that's actually running Outlaws too.
Is it?
3200. It's a little bit different color, but that's the original.
Ooh, whose 1206 is that?
That's part of the United Pullers of Minnesota. I somehow made it work where I went over to Pipestone, and I'm glad I did. They were so welcoming. That was a good show. It was a fun time, and that wasn't very far from my house either. So if the calendar works out, I might sneak over there again if they'll have me.
Have you ever gone up to Hutch?
It's been quite a few years. They changed the weekends on Hutch, and so it's been a couple years.
They've been fighting. They have a big country music festival, guys, that they've been fighting with. I've been helping Hutch with promotion and stuff the last couple years, and they've been trying to get off of this. I don't know what it's called. I forget what it's called right now. We just had a meeting about a couple weeks ago. But then with the Grand National schedule, they're stuck in their holes. You know what I mean? Like they're always before Tomar or whatever, and it's hard to move around. But there's a big country music festival, so that's why they changed that weekend. So.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've been to Hutchinson since 2018 or something like that.
Yeah, I was flipping through your photos. I saw you had some Hutch stuff on here, Mark. So that's good.
I've never shot trackside. It was always I would put myself way up at the top of that monster grandstand and then shoot down. And I'd like to go back there again. It just never works out with the weekends. And I'm trying to shoot for Thursday night at Rockwell. That's the only way that works out for that weekend, the way it looks. So,
have you shot indoor poles too? Then,
what's that?
Have you shot any indoor poles?
I used to go to the Cornhusker Classic a lot, and then this year when I met up with you guys at Cowtown.
Yep.
You know, and I feel bad, you know, that was a brand new lens. I was using my Fisher-Price camera. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And then I thought I had a good idea. And then the next session, I don't know, you would have thought I was drinking all day or something. I don't know. Things just didn't work out. And
it makes me feel better that it didn't work out for me. Like, I don't know, for the lighting or something was different down there, and it was a different indoor type of thing.
Well, I tried editing stuff, and you know, sometimes I don't like to over edit where you're like, oh, that looks borderline cartoonish. I like to leave it pretty raw, and sometimes you're just like, oh, I don't know how I can help this at this point.
Yep.
Another big person that's been really influential besides my brother and my brother's family is Rick Lindner. He's the one that drove me to my first poll at Rockwell, Iowa. Oh boy, I don't know what that was, maybe 2017. And then he also dragged me over to Lancaster for the Cornhusker Classic a long time ago. And then also I'm like, oh, we do this indoors. This is fun. So.
Yep. Which I kind of miss it not having that poll, because that's a close to home poll for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it was a neat venue, and it was cool because you'd get the Western Series, you get some outlaw stuff, you get some Bush stuff. Yep. We would get that Skelton guy with that awesome Pro 4x4. I hope he's watching. I hope he comes out this way. You know, it was cool. You would see. I got to see stuff I very rarely see, so it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that facility has gotten so expensive for them to rent, Mark, the city of Lincoln, and they just made it almost damn near impossible to have that event. So I don't know if things will recover after COVID or not. And I know that's what Cowtown, they're going to take a year and kind of regroup down there in Kansas City. So,
well, the way it sounds, it wasn't so much the venue for the poll. It was the parking garage next door, and then what they had to have for the requirements for what the fire department and security and all that. So all the support stuff. Because I know they did what they're doing, a Supercross there this weekend at Lancaster. And then I think a couple weeks ago, they had indoor go-kart racing there. So, really? And I guess they have in the past had Demolition Derby there too. So,
okay.
Yeah. But Demo Derby, they do like arena cross, motocross type of stuff. They do a ton of different stuff in there. Yeah. And Jason, if you didn't know this, Mark loves heights. So if you ever want to put him in a boom lift and go up and take pictures, Mark loves heights.
Okay. I assumed he did because he had all those cool pictures from Wisner and Spencer. So
I'm just really bummed that I didn't take a selfie when I did the picture from Spencer. Because, you know, the meme where the ocean violations, that should have been playing with me when I was doing that one. Allegedly.
Yep.
Allegedly. So this photo that's on the screen right now, I think that's Scott Frankie from Manila. Yes. That photo, this is like one of my favorite ones I've seen so far as I've been flipping through all of this. You got the smoke from the blow-by, maybe a little bit under the hood with the diesel super. You got the dirt flying. That's just super cool, Mark.
Those are a lot of those are my favorites, where you see like dirt flying everywhere and you got smoke coming off of it, and then sometimes you can zoom in and you can see the eyes through the visor, and
Yep. That's super cool. So the question we should ask, Mark, like for these shows behind the lenses, when we get these people on here, if you had no budget, kind of like Terusa's question with you could go pull anything. If you had no budget, what would you shoot with?
Canon R3.
Okay. And for somebody like me who knows no idea what that means, tell me why.
Basically, that's the flagship of the modern Canon cameras as of right now. They're going to come out with one that's even bigger, better, and faster. Basically, the R3, all the people that was over at World Cup Soccer, a lot of your pro sports people, they run those. Those cameras are basically the price of a good used car in this economy.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I feel like there's iPhone people, then there's Android people. I feel like there's that way with camera too. Is it Tamron and then mirrorless? What are the like the little divisions of different types of, like I shoot with this because like there's a fraternity of this is my brand. What are those big things that people talk about?
So I guess your big three would be Canon, Nikon, and Sony would be the big threes. Cody runs Nikon, Rusnik runs Sony, I run Canon.
Okay.
And then from there, Tamron is basically like a third party that makes lenses. They're more a budget version than what the factory OEM ones would be.
We call those aftermarket lenses.
Yep.
Dude, that picture right there is badass.
Yeah.
That is awesome, Ham. Hawarden?
Hayward.
They have an outlaw hook, don't they?
Yeah, they had the NA two-wheel drives and the Super Farms, and then they had the ATTP, which is just a small little grassroots organization with them. Wow, and that one there, Hawarden is probably the hardest venue to shoot because of their lights.
Yeah, you can tell.
This year was probably the best year I've had. I've been there like 3 or 4 times. And usually, yeah, that's one of those where you're like, well, pretty much anything after 8:30, 9 o'clock is probably going to be not so hot.
That's a cool shot, though, bud. You nailed that one.
Well, thank you. In theory, I should have had my shutter speed a lot slower so that way you would see a little spin on those tires. But, sometimes when you're fighting with lights, that's the least of your worries. You're trying to get something sometimes.
So for the people that don't know, walk them through. You talked about, the AKA Fisher Price camera not doing well after 8 or 9 o'clock. Walk through explaining why it doesn't do well after 8 or 9 o'clock.
Okay. Well, my old camera was a Canon T6S, which was a mirrored camera. Mirrored cameras tend to not do as well with lighting after dark, just because of how the light hits the mirror. And then for the most part, I was using your kit lenses or the lenses that come in the box as a deal. And a lot of those aren't fast enough, or they don't give you enough options where you can control the light that's coming in. And thus, basically, you just get a lot of blurry stuff. Whereas my new camera is a mirrorless. And with these new lenses that I have, they're a lot faster. I can control how much light I get in there. And so basically there's a lot more versatility when it's darker out. Now I can still use my old camera. I actually invested in another lens. And now that I figured out a couple things with it, I can try to do some different things with it. So.
And you shoot with no flashes, correct?
I tried it once. It was a fail, no flashes. No. Yeah. I know some of the big dogs do it, and they do great jobs with it. I don't know. It's just, I tried it didn't work, so I don't do it.
Any chance you will ever have a tractor and a pull with us so we can get a picture of you pulling and someone else taking the pic? There you go.
I don't know. I could borrow one of your lawn tractors, I guess. I'll tell you what. I'll come to Minnow. What is it? Minnow Power Days or the little Minnow polo deal, and I'll find a garden tractor and I'll jump on. Yeah, I'll tell you what. The next thing it would be in my budget is I'd really like to get a camper so that way I could spread out my coverage area a little bit more.
Sure. Cody wants to get a bus, like a tour bus.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that it's too bad you UPC hint hint wink wink.
Yeah. So you shot some tractor pulls, you shot some demo derbies and some dirt track racing, some of the soccer games. What's something you haven't shot that you want to shoot?
I bugged Houston Speedway once already. I'm gonna try bugging them again in the spring. I'd like to get trackside, not during a World Outlaw show or anything like that, but during one of their weekly shows. And I'd like to get trackside at least for qualifying, at least, and get down in there. Yeah, I'd like to do that. I've tried to get in with monster trucks. The problem is with monster trucks, when they come to town here, they've got a guy that's on contract. They won't let anyone else in. Same thing with Supercross. You know, I've said, hey, I'd like to come out and shoot. I'm willing to do this. I know you got to do it on contract. I'm not here to take money away. I just want to do this. And I've gotten blown off. So
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I've learned a couple things to shoot my daughter's soccer games. And I was renting lenses from our local photo shop, just trying different things and different looks. And, you know, I've learned more probably this year than I have in the last couple of years, just because, you know, I think I just got complacent because I'm like, well, I know what my limitations are. And I just kind of did it that way.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I can get away with different ISO and shutter speeds on my full frame versus what I can with my other one.
Yep.
So Haley's comment, this is Eleanor before it was Eleanor, right?
Yep.
This would have been the people that have the alter ego tractor now, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
This is 2011 Rock Valley.
Yep.
So, Stephanie says it's the power show in Menno, and we have 3 gardens. One you can try if you can talk Munchkin into it. There you go.
There you go. I even got my own helmet yet. I'll bring it with.
Sweet.
Is it like the half bull type of stuff from
Whoa.
like Sturgis? Because that'd be
No. I've got a dirt bike style helmet that I used to ride when I used to ride my 4-wheeler all the time. So.
Okay, this photo I've never seen before.
Yep, that was that was
great.
New Hampton, Iowa.
The whole rear end come out?
Yes.
Holy crap.
I think if you go into the comments of that picture, someone posted some more shots of it. I've got more on my computer here. That was like the first ish event that I did with this T6S when we got it. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just impressed that I could reach out and get that good of range. But yeah, you can see there the whole rear end just came plopping out.
Wow. That just looks so weird sitting like that. The big fenders on it for the mod. Holy cow.
And that's just figuring out how to get that thing loaded back in the trailer sometimes can be a whole nother mess.
Telehandler and a couple scoop shovels.
Yeah, but you go to some of the small pulls, they don't always have a telehandler, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
So.
Yep.
Wow. That looks weird. Yeah, that should be your meme of the day, Ham. You ever seen a 4-engine mod without a rear tires? Wow, that's crazy.
When you drop the clutch and it drops out.
Yep. Steph says you can wear Maddie's pink helmet, buddy.
You know, I wear Logan's pink headset when the mods go by. I'm not afraid to wear a pink.
Cool shot of Warpath.
I can confirm that. So I think I've got pictures of you wearing the pink earmuffs. So
yes, you do.
Yep.
Well, we've taken an hour and 9 minutes of Mark's life. Website. How can people buy photos from you? I want to talk about that, Mark.
Okay, so as of January yesterday or whatever day it was, you can now order the photos off my website. You can use a card or whatever. I've got an account through Stripe, so you can order them right off the website. Don't have to deal with me. What I mentioned today is if you see one but you'd like something a little bit farther back, or you want something with the sled more in it, message me and I can find something, because on a given pass I might have anywhere from 12 to 30 photos of a pass.
Right.
So there might be a little bit different angle that I can find. You can message me and I can find it.
So click on galleries, Mark, find my photo I want to buy.
Yep, go to galleries. Right now I've got 2022 up. I'm going to start working on 2021 and all the way up to whatever. I'm going to be a little more critical on some of the old stuff because some of it may not be very good. But yeah, you can just click on the photo. Through the website, they've got you can get the digital download, or you can order a print that's done with a third party and it's mailed right to your doorstep. So you can use your Visa, MasterCard, whatever, Jazz, pay for it there, and they'll ship it to your house.
That's pretty sweet right there.
Mm-hmm.
All that diesel smoke. That would look good hanging on my wall. I might have to do that.
Whereas the old days, it was a little bit clunkier. You'd have to message me, and if I wasn't at my 2 jobs, I might get to you that night. And this is a little bit faster. And not everyone's got PayPal or Venmo or Cash App. So, So this way here, that gives them a little bit easier way. Now, I did mention this when I did my little going live video, as I said, unfortunately I had to raise some of my rates because I got sales tax to pay. I have to pay the website royalties, and now Stripe, they want their cut too. So, and that's one thing you have to keep in mind with us photo dudes. There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to this sort of stuff. So,
yes, there is.
So yeah, you can go in there, you can do the digital, you can go in there and you can get a couple different options. There's another vendor I can link to it that'll give some more options. I haven't just really gotten into it yet. I work 2 jobs, so spare time is here and there.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. This is cool. Gene Dunn, do you have any of the Twisted Kitty semi-truck?
I don't know if it's that one, the Twisted Kitty, or I believe the Great Plains. No, that was Bad Kitty, I think, was a 2-wheel drive, as a pink one that had animal stripes on it. I don't think I have very good of that one. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, Gene's out in Ohio primarily. He won our Pullers Championship last year.
Oh, okay. So then, no, I don't have anything of that one there. Usually the farthest east I go would be Rockwell, Iowa. The last 2 years, I think the most I've spent has mostly been in Nebraska, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's been a really good market. As much as I love to see Cody and Ryan, we don't necessarily need 4 or 5 of us at the same event.
Right.
We could always venture out and, do other organizations and other things and give different looks.
Yep. What's a pull out east, or a couple pulls that you want to make it to in the future someday? Maybe not necessarily in the next year, but
Chapel Hill.
Chapel Hill?
Because Chapel Hill, something's going to break, and there's going to be just explosive amounts of horsepower. Now, naturally, I'd love to go to Louisville or Toma or Bowling Green naturally, but I don't know. There's something about, whenever I've watched an RFD TV, Chapel Hill, something's going to break.
Yep.
And you got the big dogs out there. You got the big classes there.
Yep, for sure. No, this is cool. I'm glad you did this, because that's always been the one thing that's been hard for you guys is, you have cool photos, but getting them sold. You know what I mean? Now to have a website like this is slick. I like this a lot. So
yeah, I had it before, and then right before the pandemic, I basically kiboshed it because, why was I going to spend money on something, to keep it going if it wasn't going to do anything? So, I basically kiboshed it, and then all of a sudden we came back, and I got this new hunger, and this is a different kind of fun to it again. So all of a sudden, I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So.
Yep. I like it. I like it a lot. Cool. Well, this has been successful. Thank you for doing this, Mark and Cody, for helping. I guess let's try to do a couple of these a month, and then you guys kind of pick guests. If any of you photographers, videographers, you want to be on the show, message one of us, and I'll get the StreamYard link set up and get on. Just want to highlight who you are, what you do, how you got into the sport, how to find you on social media, websites, different things like that, and then just keep promoting the sport, because we can't do it without all of you guys. So, and then one thing, Mark, I'm going to try to do is to get the promoters to bring you free food. So what's your favorite thing to eat in general?
Have you seen my shirts?
Well said. Fair enough.
And to be honest, sometimes that makes a big difference, because sometimes, depending on you get like a Wisner or Rock Valley, you're running 180, 120 some hooks in there. We don't want to miss anything. So sometimes you don't eat anything until later.
Okay. I just found my new favorite picture.
Yeah.
Holy crap. That thing's sweating horsepower, as I like to say.
Absolutely.
New Hampton. Is that still a pole, New Hampton?
They don't have NTPA anymore. They do like a
is it ECI?
They do a charity pole there.
That is awesome.
And unfortunately, I was going to try to get there this past year, but it ended up landing on the weekend where I couldn't go. So, because it's a neat venue, it's a neat deal. I like it. And old Phil used to announce that one. So.
Yep. I got to work with Phil and Hutchinson again this year. He's a hoot.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
He's a hoot.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We've got some great announcers out there like Phil and all those guys, and yeah.
Well, we're doing a behind the mic too. I just need to, just like your two jobs. That's another thing too. So, but I want to interview polling announcers. We're going to kind of start. We got Alan Washburn, the legendary voice of the NTPA, built into Let's Grow Polling Monday night. Going to start kind of talk about that a little bit. But I really want to highlight the announcers and the photographers and videographers that make it happen, because that's so cool. Pictures still are worth 1,000 words, and a cool photo is awesome.
Please tell me you can hunt down Army Armstrong. I want to hear that dude's voice one more time.
Oh, I'll hunt it. I got Doc Riley's cell phone number. I'll hunt down him. I'll hunt down anybody you want.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
No, I already talked to Doc about it.
I think hunt is the wrong H word. Harass might be a better one, Jason. No.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
No.
Yeah. People that don't know me, I don't give up until you tell me to say no and go away. So if anybody's dodging my phone calls, just answer it this time and say, Jason, I'm not interested.
We already established that's Wilson.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix his little wagon too. So it's all good. It's all good. Mark, this means a lot. I've known you for a long, long, long time. And it's fun to see you all summer long with the Outlaws and different things. And I've learned a lot just watching you guys and listening to you guys talk and stuff like that. I really appreciate you doing this, and it's been fun. I don't know, it's just been fun. I enjoy it. I love hearing more about it and sharing your story, and we're gonna do more of this. So. Yeah,
and much thanks to the Outlaws. They've been really cool with me, and I've done stuff with Nebraska Bush, Northeast Nebraska, UPM, Western Series. All of them have been really cool. I think and I always have a practice. If it was a new track, I'd always try to message someone and say, hey, I'd like to come out. Is that cool? Because I don't want to waste the gas if they're going to be like, who, what? And yeah. I've only had one time where I kind of got blown off and I never went there. So, but I appreciate it because, I can send a message to Dave or Kurt and say, hey, I'm coming out. Okay, cool. We'll see you. There you go.
Yeah, this is a cool one that Dave Nelson took of you. I think this is Ravenna. Year.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, much kudos to him. That was a sweet little series he came up with there.
Yeah.
Yep. And needless to say, you could tell that was the first pull of the year because I was actually using my joints. You see me towards the end of the year, and I've got a stool and just close to a recliner.
We saw him at Wisner, and he's like, "You got to check this out." I brought my stool, and we're like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, it collapses." And he spins it and collapses it down, and then Rouge tried to sit on it, and it collapsed on him. So
Yeah.
He didn't trust ham stool anymore after that and never tried it.
A ham stool. That's
Yeah.
funny.
So, yeah.
No, that's a cool shot. I love your logo. I always loved your logo, the Bandit. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It is so cool.
You know,
Well, guys-
I
go
thought
ahead.
about, dropping it off and just have the Ham Boys on there. But the problem is, it's kind of grown. And then, well, if I do that, then I've got all these cool 6B shirts and all these decals and stuff. And it's like, no, we'll let it run its course.
Stick with it. Stick with it. Your branding. It's all for it.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll start a little chat between the three of us on here on Facebook. And if we get some other people helping with us, that's fine. And we'll just kind of find our next guest. And when the schedules clear out and we can do it. I know next week is ship. So then we'll figure it out. But let's do a couple of these a month. I think it'll be fun. So sound good? Thank you, everybody, for watching our first episode of Behind the Lens. You two stick around if you don't mind after I hit the end broadcast button. So, Cody, what do you want to say to sign off?
Thanks to Mark. It's been fun getting to know him over the last, 2.5 years probably now. And somewhere in there, maybe 2 years. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think wasn't it summer 2020?
Probably. But
I don't know. My memory is as long as my hair. So,
yeah. So, but it's been fun getting to know you over the years and give you some challenges. I haven't figured out what everybody's challenges this year, so I will quickly be coming with something for you to try. So, but Mark's a good dude. If you guys see him, feel free to shout out at him because he doesn't bite. He's a hoot to visit with, and he always has great analogies for everything. So.
Yeah, the analogies are my favorite part, actually. So.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're great, but you're going to get one anyway.
Yeah. The Fisher Price camera like that's priceless. So
good stuff. It's good stuff. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Mark, wrap us up. You conclude it here.
All right. Well, thanks to 6B and 22 Graphics Design, Sandusky, Pabst Blue Ribbon, my family, and all the Pullers fans and all the people that make it worthwhile, and to the couple of people that have spotted me Mountain Dew here and there.
Fair enough. Thanks for watching Behind the Lens, episode 1. Have a great night, everybody.